What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview. First off, thank you so much for tuning in, for checking out the show. Your support is massively appreciated. The only reason that this show exists is because of all of your amazing support. So we truly appreciate your support. I truly appreciate your support. Make sure that you're sharing the show with as many people that you feel would benefit from the show. The goal is to always grow this show and go out there and have a big impact. Real quick though, before we jump into today's podcast, I want to plug our sponsors that make all of this possible. Our first sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp. This is my real estate agent mentorship training program. It's a group training platform. This way it makes it extremely affordable for you. Inside this program, however, I am unpacking my entire playbook. I'm walking you through step by step everything that I do inside my real estate business, everything that I've done, everything I've learned in my 12-plus year career with selling over 5,000 homes, with selling over $1 billion in real estate. And I walk you through step by step exactly what I've done, how I built what I've built, and what I'm doing today to go out there and create the success. But don't mistake the low cost for low value. This is an insanely in-depth, step-by-step program where I'm walking you through, again, step-by-step on how I go out there. My team sells 1 to 2 homes every single day in today's market, continue to grow my business year after year, and how I've been able to exit from selling, exit from actually day-to-day involvement in my real estate team, and create an epic, amazing real estate team that not only sustains but grows without my involvement. So whatever level that you're at, whether you're a brand new real estate agent, you're an individual high-producing agent that wants to expand and create a team, or if you already have an amazing team, or you're a broker owner that's looking to step up your internal training, looking to step up your systems, your processes, your tracking, make your business more predictable, this program is absolutely for anybody that's serious about leveling up inside their business. So check us out, www.90daymastery.com. Make sure you use promo code LIVEMASTERY, all one word, all together, all caps. That's going to get you the biggest discount on 90daymastery.com. You're going to see tons of testimonials on there, video testimonials, what's included in the program, the future dates of the program. I do several of these every single year, so make sure to check us out and make sure to jump inside that program ASAP. My next sponsor that makes this show possible is perfectstormnow.com. If you're a real estate agent and you are looking for a lead generation machine website backed by an insanely powerful CRM system that allows you to convert your leads to appointments at the highest possible level, manage all your tasks, make sure that you're effective and efficient as you possibly can be inside your business, transaction management component, all of that stuff. It is hands down by far the most effective and affordable real estate website and CRM program that exists out there in the industry. It's what I use to go out there and sell 650 plus homes every single year, and the system is gnarly. If you're signing up for that program, make sure to use promo code MASTERY, PSN, all caps, all one word, all together. That'll save you the $200 registration fee and get you a great discount. Our last sponsor is REO University. So I teamed up with a good buddy of mine who is the most knowledgeable dude, hands down, that I've ever met when it comes to REO properties. This guy used to work for the banks directly as an asset manager, and he developed so many of the systems that you see that asset managers and asset management firms and banks use today. This guy sold over 11,000 properties, foreclosure properties, as an asset manager. And he and I teamed up with my experience of working with over 35 banks in my career, selling thousands of REOs, plus his experience. We've created just an insane program. Again, REO University, the website is www.REO University. It's a one-time payment for $997, or you can split that up into 3 monthly payments. This is not a live boot camp like my 90-Day Mastery boot camp. This is something that you have access to instantaneously. We'll walk you through exactly how to go out there and get in with the banks. So how to get the business, but then how to service that business at the highest level, how to go out there and complete BPOs, how to complete cash for keys, how to make sure that you're insane at your valuations, how to go out there and make sure that your asset managers are winning and hitting their goals, key indicators you need to look for, and more. There's 22 in-depth, just amazing, powerful modules that will teach you how to become an REO machine inside your real estate business. Now, if you're like me, I don't want my business to ever be in a vulnerable position, right? I don't care if it's a good market, bad market. It doesn't mean that my business needs to be good or bad. My business can always be great. During a market crash, right? There's no such thing as if the market's going to crash. It's just a matter of when, right? But again, you don't need to put yourself in a vulnerable position. You can make sure that your real estate business is 100% recession proof, and go out there and, of course, generate business, do a ton of business regardless of what's happening in the marketplace. And this is exactly how you go out there and do it. And we walk you through step by step. So check us out, reomasteryuniversity.com. You can learn more about the program, hopefully register for the program, jump on in. This price will not last long, right? We just created this product, rolled it out several months ago, and just getting in the hands of the consumer, and people are having a lot of amazing success. So again, check us out, reomasteryuniversity.com. All right, again, you guys, thank you so much for watching this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to share the show. Make sure to comment, like us on YouTube, leave some positive comments. We love hearing back from you guys, and love getting your feedback. Keep kicking ass, and let's jump on into today's interview. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview. Every single week, we interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate agents, and straight up top badasses. They're out there dominating their space. These are people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves and for their families. So today, you guys, another amazing, epic guest on, a guy I'm really excited for. This guy is a very successful real estate agent, one of the top producing real estate agents in probably the most competitive real estate market that I'm aware of on the planet right now, right? So top producing real estate agent. This is a dude that also just dominates, straight up dominates on the listing side. Actually, right before we hit the record button, he was telling me how he just doubled one of his, $3 million listings, as well as now he's, coaching and training, in addition to operating his real estate business, coaching and training a lot of other real estate agents on how to go out there and become world-class listing agents and 10X their listing business. So really stoked and honored to have Chris Stafford on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much, man. It's an honor.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. Just like I know you do, but with the podcast and just being in the space, I speak to real estate agents, all over the United States, all over Canada, just all over. And most people, right now, and it's been this way for some time now, but are in a seller's market. And like here, I'm in Phoenix, right? And, we're, 2 to 3 months, there's some areas under 2 months inventory, but most are probably like 2.5. And, that sounds pretty hard, pretty competitive, but I don't think people understand how insane it is in San Francisco, right? There's just no damn homes. And, when I'm talking to agents, they're like, dude, like the house that you never would think would sell is listed at, 3 or 4 million, ends up selling in 14 days for 6 million. And it's, just so insane, so competitive. So if you can just give us some perspective of like what is taking place in your market, man, because it's something like I haven't seen in any other space.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I think you hit the nail on the head. We don't have as many listings as that we need, and we have a lot of buyers. We have, in the Bay Area anyways, we come from a very strong economy due to the high-tech sector. And so there are just so many buyers, and there are so many, which surprises me even, there's so many cash buyers that are coming in, and they're all bidding on the same property. It's just, it's crazy to me. I just had a listing that was a complete tear down. Josh with his place. Absolutely. The only good thing about this thing was the foundation. $800,000 is what we listed the property for. We just sold it yesterday. We received 18 offers and sold for $1.2 million. And this is a tear down. And so many of these buyers are high-tech buyers with a lot of cash. So, I think that especially in high-end markets like San Francisco, LA, and New York, I think it's really difficult for sellers to sell their property and stay in the city. So the only successful players really I see are people that are actually selling their homes and moving out of the high-end markets and moving, into places of the country that are a little bit less expensive. And so a lot of sellers can't afford to do that. They can't afford to just pick up and move. So everybody's staying and they're remodeling instead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the stat I heard, and this was about a year ago, but I mean, how many listings are there, in San Francisco right now, active listings? Yeah. And last time I heard it was like something crazy, like only 100 or 200 or something just insane.
Yeah. I think, right now, I think there's probably, active listings right now. I want to say something in the low 200s.
Yeah.
We're in, even 3, 4, or 5 years ago, that was close to like 800, 900. And so I think that's pretty much the problem right there.
Yep. 200 listings and thousands of real estate agents just all competing for that little pie, man. So, so I've got a lot of follow-up questions, but before I get into those, I'm always intrigued in our guest journey that really led them down this path into real estate and into entrepreneurship in the first place. So like how'd this whole journey start for you?
Well, geez, I am a recovering CPA. I used to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I absolutely hated it. And after doing that for about 11 years, they wanted to make me partner, which really freaked me out. And so I says, you know what? I just really want to go into my passion. And my passion was really real estate. And so I started in real estate. My God, I've been doing this now, Joshua, for over 25 years. But, a big thing happened to me. They say, watch out for these random phone calls you get on a Tuesday afternoon. And that was, I got a phone call at 4:00 on a Tuesday this was about 15 years ago, that my partner had brain cancer. And talking about knocking you for a loop, these are the kinds of things that you can't, predict. And so I really sort of ended up just for about a year and just had this real awakening in that, I just can't keep abusing my body like this. And I decided that I needed to do my business differently. I needed to do my life differently. And that's one of the reasons I've written a couple books about massive abundance. And I just decided I was going to change up my whole business. And, I think that Tony Robbins best when he said, that's one of the most important things that I've learned is that concentrate on your mindset. And that's really been a big consideration for my success, I believe, in real estate.
Yeah. So, cause I mean, it sounds like it was about 10 years into your journey of this before you really, started leveling up, taking this stuff serious and really treating this as a career.
Right.
What was that first 10 years like before you decided to, make those changes?
Oh my God. Well, I was sort of like abusing my body. I was drinking a lot. I was eating really bad food. I was working like 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I was, my first 10 years, I was just doing every single thing that I could do to try to get listings and try to get business. And in the cowboy rodeo days of real estate back then in San Francisco, it was pretty crazy. There was a lot of crazy stuff happening with drugs and everything else. So, a lot of us just sort of abused ourselves to become successful. And at some point, I think hopefully everybody wakes up one day and says, this can't go on. And that's what happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, that's awesome, man. And one of the cool thing is, when you have those moments where you kind of become awake, man, it just feels like, things can pivot and shift so fast.
Oh, no
A lot of people just think that, they don't want to do the work because they think this is going to be such a long process. And it's like, no, man, I mean, if you do this right and if you're committed, things can turn so quick. So kind of, talk us, okay, you started to work on your mindset first and kind of talk to us about, what did that look like? Because mindset gets thrown around so often these days, but what does that really mean? And how has that led to you becoming this, dominant real estate agent in your marketplace?
Well, I think, one of the things I think that's really important is really how you start your day. I agree with you. I don't really like that word mindset. I like sort of brain hacks, if you will, but I think that the way you start your day, Joshua, is just so key and so important. And so I have this sort of little thing that I call Mij, which is so super powerful for me and which really allows me to, get the most out of my day. And that is number one, I meditate every single morning. Number two, I exercise. And for me personally, I love going to the pool. And so, do my laps every morning. And then eating well, and then journaling. And so, I make myself a smoothie. I write down 3 things every single morning that really just rock my world. And that is a great way to start your day. Because I think if you do all those things, and this is, if I go out and I have a McDonald's, which I never do, or, I go out and have a few glasses of wine the night before, I'm so lethargic the next day, I just can't get to that place where I'm super powerful. But if I do these things every single morning, I start from a place that's super powerful for me, because I think that it puts me, quite frankly, I hate to use this word, but it puts me in a state of joy. And I really, truly believe that from a state of joy, you can do anything, absolutely anything in your life. And so that was the big thing that I would stress to everybody is you got to start your day right.
Yep. Yeah. And when you listen to, the greats like Tony Robbins, I mean, he talks so heavily about the importance of getting yourself in the right physical, physiological and mental state to be able to operate at your best self. And, most people just wake up like just with enough time. They're in a reactive state and they just go. And I don't know if they truly understand the power of, if you just take that time, even 30 minutes, just take that time to dial it in, just the power it gives you to execute at a higher level throughout the day.
And get off your happy butt and move in the morning. That's the time what you need to do is you need to move. You need to eat healthy and, and write down your goals, write down what you're trying to accomplish during the day, journal. I do affirmations as well. So those are the 3 things that I write down every single day. And to me, it makes me super powerful.
Yeah, I love it. So, I was talking with a gentleman I had in a podcast about a year or so ago, and he's like you, a mega agent, mega listing agent in the.
You're too kind, Joshua.
That
you're too kind.
Yeah, but in the LA area, and when I was talking to him, because this is the guy, he's got a team around him, but he's doing 350, 400 million in yearly production, and he's talking about going on these listing presentations with these multi-million dollar properties and sometimes having 10 people there. But he talked about the importance of even his evening routine the night before and his morning routine. Because he's like, look, the one secret weapon that I have is nobody can match my energy. And that's how I go dominate these, right? So can you kind of elaborate on that? Because I think so many people are trying to master the presentation, which I'm not saying isn't important, but how big of a part do you think having that energy and that routine has allowed you to separate yourself from your competition?
Oh, absolutely. It's no surprise to you, Josh, when I've seen you talk about this in other podcasts. It's no surprise to your listeners that having the energy and having, I think more importantly, to the connection, with your sellers. So what I do as part of my listing presentations, especially if somebody doesn't know me, is, I send them as much information up front that I possibly can before they actually meet them. I have a really super powerful but super simple pre-listing package that I send out to my sellers. I do something also which a lot of sellers don't really hear from, a lot of testimonials. So I have people, I actually have bird dogs, I call them, that are successful sellers where I made them a lot of money. And I have them call the seller before I even meet with them and give the seller testimonials about how wonderful and great Christopher Stafford is. And so that's really powerful. I give them a lot of information up front about the market, about the housing, about prices, what they should list it for, what they should sell it for. I give them my marketing strategy. I give them all the stuff up front before I even sell them, before that I even meet them. So that way, by the time I'm meeting them, quite frankly, I can just concentrate on making the connection and using, like you said, great energy and just making a super connection with them and talking about things and using stories mostly. I do this a lot with sellers. Use stories to make that connection, to get them laughing, to get them giggling. Those are the kinds of things that are going to get sellers on your side. There's so many agents that, as you probably know, walk into a listing presentation and they're like, well, I'm number one, I've done this, I'm this, blah, blah, blah. Sellers have heard it all before and they don't want to hear it, quite frankly. So I just try to use my energy to make a connection with sellers way before it happens.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. And do you think that, because you really front load this so they can do all of their, due diligence and a lot of the research before you even get there. And do you think that is something that works well on your price point? Because these are very busy, results driven, people, or do you think it's something that works well, or have you experimented at all price points that works well, or do you think it's because you're in such a high price point?
Well, I think in my experience personally in San Francisco market, yes, people are very, I mean, these people are very intelligent. They're super busy. You're absolutely right in all accounts. But the other thing too is frequently they think that they're smarter than me. And so when it comes, when it comes to, knowing what their list price should be and what they think their property is going to sell for, these people have done their own research. My feeling is that a lot of these people have gone on the internet. They've already experienced what places are selling for in their block, what kinds of attributes are selling, what's not working, that type of thing. So, frequently I don't need to get into, I can't even tell you, Joshua, the last time I got into a detailed conversation in a listing presentation about price. Because most of my listing presentations, I'm done in 20 to 30 minutes tops. I don't think I've ever been longer than 30 minutes. Again, I spend all the time talking about what makes me unique and just developing a rapport, developing a connection.
Because I mean, you send them all the stuff that takes that initial hour for them to do on their own, right? So I love that. Like in your market right now, man, I mean, how do you even price a home? Right? Like, I mean, if you were to get in that debate, I mean, things are just selling it. It probably just, I mean, it makes that almost kind of a mute point, right?
Yeah, well, again, these sellers know what they want for their house, and generally they're pretty spot on. But it's all in the San Francisco market right now. It's all about pricing homes to get multiple offers, and so if you think you've got a piece of crap house that's worth $1.2 million, you don't list it for sale at $1.2 million. You list it for sale at $800,000. It's the same thing with any price point in any house in San Francisco. You really want to try to generate the interest. So, it's really a matter of just figuring how low we should set the price to get multiple offers on a property. And sellers generally have a good sense for what that number should be.
Yeah. Love it. Now, is this something that you've done? And if so, can you just elaborate on the importance that you feel that it makes? Like I see so many real estate agents and they just, they're studying marketing and lead gen, but they, like very few real estate agents that I talk to spend the time to go take classes taught by appraisers, really know valuations, and really know some of these different intricate parts of how to truly value properties and different things. Is that something that you've really spent time mastering that's helped you again just take that listing presentation to the next level?
Unfortunately, no. I'm pretty old school. I don't really know many real estate agents in San Francisco that have taken classes like that. But again, I've been doing this for over 25 years too, Joshua. So I have a really good sense for what's going to sell and what's not going to sell, and what are going to be detractors, and what things are going to make it more difficult to sell, and have a really good sense of what pricing is. Our biggest thing is trying to reconcile, what something sells for in San Francisco versus, is the appraisal going to come out? Our biggest concern is the house going to appraise? So we have a pretty good sense on pricing, but I think it's a good point that you're bringing up. I've never been one of those people to really spend a lot of time taking courses on anything. I've spent a lot of money and a lot of dollars and a lot of time on coaching people were coaching me in terms of how to prospect and how to market and that kind of thing. But I never went to go to any NAR courses on appraisal or becoming a CRS or a ERA or whatever the heck they all are. For me, this is a people business, the best business that you can be in, where I think that belly-to-belly marketing is really the most important thing. And again, I always come back to, if you can make that connection with sellers, that's the key.
Yep. Love it, man. So then, you brought something up earlier about those that are able to sell or are selling right now are those that are in a position where they can, move, whether that's to, wherever they're going. Arizona, we have a huge influx, Texas, wherever they're going. Is that something, because they're in a position to be able to do that you're very strategic with when it comes to your marketing, trying to target those people that are in that position?
Oh, that's a really good question. Nobody's ever asked me that, Joshua. I think that probably is one of the factors that I evaluate, if you will, when it comes to figuring out whether the seller's motivated, quite frankly. If they do have to move and they are motivated. But I mean, the truth of the matter is, Joshua, my mother calls me a listing whore. So I'll list anything that doesn't move. And the truth is, I'm always looking for sellers that aren't super motivated. But if someone says to me, hey, I got to sell a $2 million house and I'm going to figure out a way to stay in the city, I'm going to rent somewhere, blah, blah, blah. you know what, I'm going to list the house for sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way you think. You think that I sort of get the impression that I really want to be more analytical about this, but I'm not. You know, for me, it's all about again, it's just making connections with sellers and just meeting new people, which I love doing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you brought that up, because my next question was gonna be about your CPA background and, how that's kind of tied into helping with your success, in real estate. I mean, has that been something that's, because obviously when you're a CPA, I mean, you're paying attention to numbers, you're tracking, your financials, you're knowing your ROI. Has that been something that you felt is been a great asset to you throughout your business too?
I think it's helped, but probably for a reason that most people wouldn't think of. I think it's helped me, Joshua, to become just a little bit more professional in the business. I mean, it's not going to be any surprise to you that, it doesn't take a great rocket scientist to become a real estate agent. And a lot of us deal with so many real estate agents that just don't have the professionalism or the motivation or the desire to act professional, I guess. And so a lot of people see that as, a way that not so much that I know numbers and I can talk to them about taxes and all that kind of stuff. But I think that the most important thing is that if I play that up at all, it's just being professional in the real estate industry, because we need a lot more of that. That's for sure.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. I don't know if you've read NAR's Danger Report, which was published about a year or two ago. And they had like all the top things that are a threat to the real estate agent and the real estate industry. And the number one thing was actually the real estate agent themselves and the vast amount of unprofessionalism and part-timers that just treat this business as such a lackadaisical space, right?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like I just had a listing about 3 months ago where during the listing marketing period, I had a real estate agent that actually called my seller and tried to get the listing away from me.
Yeah.
It's like, hello. I mean, that's sort of like real estate 101 and how to get your license taken away. And so it's just crazy. And my standard line to the sellers is, unfortunately I have to work with these people, and they always get a chuckle out of that. So.
Yeah, love it. So, I mean, I have to imagine your marketplace, right? Like, I mean, it sounds like because the inventory and things are so hot, once you get the listing, in most cases, if it's a motivated seller, it's that becomes the easy part. Getting the call, getting the appointment, getting the foot in the door, I'm sure is the big challenge right now.
Yes.
Just like most people in most markets. So can you kind of give us an idea of what that looks like and what that, what your marketing or prospecting plan of action is to go out there and get the amount of listings that you do?
Sure. Well, like I said, I've been in the business over 25 years, and I still, to this day, I started off prospecting for 2 hours every single morning. I still do that every single morning. As a matter of fact, before I jumped on this call, I generally do between like 8:30 and 10:30. And before I jumped on this interview, I managed to get all of my tasks done, which means all of my calls done. I have a set number of people that I have to call every single day. But it's really important, I think, that even as an experienced real estate agent, just as a brand new agent, that you set this is the most important word, consistency. You have to be consistent in your marketing. You have to set a time every single day that is sacrosanct. There is nothing that is going to change that. No child, no husband, no nothing is going to keep you away from doing that marketing. And you got to figure that out for your own self. But I think it's really important that you do consistent marketing to fill your pipeline. And so what I'm doing every single day is I'm calling my sphere of influence. I'm generally calling anywhere from 10 to 20, sometimes 30 people a day. I have a very large database of about 3,000 people. I try to call them or leave voicemails for them or email them every 3 months. And so I'm making a lot of calls to my sphere of influence every single day. I've got a pretty super cool CRM program that identifies new expireds and withdrawn listings. So I'm calling expireds and withdrawals every single day. And then after that, what I do is I've got this sort of probate attorney program, which is a super easy program to start. And what I do is I call probate attorneys and getting probate referrals for listings. But the key for me is that I'm doing, no matter what I'm doing, as a matter of fact, my partner's family is here visiting from Brazil. And they're going out and having fun and doing all this kind of stuff. And I said, nope, I got to stay home. I got to make these calls. and I have to also talk to the esteemed Joshua. And I says, there is nothing that's going to keep me from doing this because I have to do it every single day.
Yeah. No, and I love what you said there. You know, so many agents are looking always for that magic pill. It's like the only magic pill that exists is consistency, as you said, you know, right? It's just consistent, man. And
I'll tell you something else too, which this is so easy, and I'm a big believer in easy and cheap in terms of my marketing. You know, I want to do things that just don't cost a lot of money. I'm not really into ego or vanity marketing. I want to do stuff that's going to be really inexpensive. The easiest thing, especially newer agents can do, which I still do to this day, is find professionals. Here's the key. Let me back up. The key is to build your list. You got to build your list to get as many people to be your bird dog so that they're sending you referrals. And the easiest way to build your list is number one is ask your sphere of influence for people that they might be turned on to. But the other thing is go in the phone book, go in a directory and find 2 to 5 professionals, attorneys, real estate attorneys, investment bankers, CPAs, you name it, anybody that's just working in your particular marketplace. And I've done this very successfully. You call them up on the phone and you say, you know, hey, John, this is Chris Stafford with Paragon Real Estate, and I've heard great things about the stuff that you're doing with your probate attorney business. I just wanted to stay in touch for future referrals. Would you mind if I send you a card? And they always say yes. They never say, you know, go away. They always say yes. And what I do is I have a glorified business card thing that I send them. Basically, it's a glorified pre-listing package. I send that to them by priority mail, and I put them in my sphere of influence, and I call them every 3 months. Yeah. And I can't tell you, number one, you're building your list because you're adding 5 to 10 people a week. But not only that, but you're getting referrals from these people. I can't even tell you how many listings, especially high-end listings, I've gotten from relationships that I've developed through just picking names out of a phone book and adding them to my list.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we live in such a, you know, an amazing world, an amazing time, you know, that we're just in right now. I mean, you look at systems like LinkedIn. You know, right? Like you can go get so targeted. You can find all that data. You can find out by profession. You can even export it, put it right in your database. Right. You know, right? It makes it so easy for people to do.
And tell these people too, you want to give them referrals. You know, it's a two-way street. So people love doing that kind of stuff.
Yep. Awesome. So then, okay. So you're prospecting every single day. You're not, you don't have some magical, secret that, it's just that consistent 25 years of being consistent and, working your database and not neglecting it. Okay. You get the listing because you got the pre-listing package, then you got the testimonials, you got all these things that go out, but you gotta, I'm sure I don't know if this is something you battle with, but I'm sitting there and like, when I'm thinking about this, I'm like, all right, you want to schedule the appointment, soon enough because time can kill deals. They can meet somebody else or whatever. But you also want to give them enough time to go through it all, have it all delivered. So can you just walk us through like what that looks like, how to time this stuff out, and if somebody wants to go the same route.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. It depends on how motivated they are and how soon they have to move. So really that's going to be the governing factor. I think if I meet somebody and they say, like I just did this yesterday, where I called and expired and they said I was unhappy, it expired, I'm unhappy with my current agent, I'm going to take 30 days to make a decision. This is what they tell them. So what I do is I try to set up an appointment in half that time. So I keep calling them back and say, listen, can we set up an appointment in 2 weeks? And just so I can send you my information. I always sort of cut the time in half in terms of what their move date is. But a lot of it's just going to depend on how motivated they are and when they actually want to move. Because I can get my package over, San Francisco is only 7 by 7 square miles. So yeah. I can get my pre-listing package over to anybody that day if I have to. Although I like to put it in a priority mail package because that makes them think that they're important.
Yeah. And then, I love, you're the only guy I've ever heard about your raving fan clients actually call them, right? Like we see, written testimonials or even videos, but I mean, number one, that shows how amazing of a job that you do for your clients and the connection and the fact they'd go out of your way to help you is speaks volumes for what you do. But, what is it more complicated than it sounds, or like, how do you entice them to go out there and do that?
I just give them a lot of booze. No, what I do is, and this is another thing that I think a lot of listing agents aren't doing, is getting testimonials. Number one, just start there. It's really important that you ask your sellers, like, we just closed a deal last night. I mean, last night I sent an email. I said, here's my Yelp link. Could you do me a favor and put a testimonial on my Yelp link? If you can't do that, send it to my email. And then what happens, what I love about real estate and what I love about this business is, as I said, belly-to-belly marketing. There are some people that you're just going to really gel with. There's some people, as you know, Joshua, that you're just going to become great friends with. You have similar personalities. You just click. And those are the kinds of people, especially if you've done a great job for them, those are the kinds of people that you really need to sort of have on that limited, testimonial calling circuit. And those are the kinds of people where, it's not a matter of me just furthering the relationship by phone calls. I'm also taking them out to lunches. I'm having them over my house for dinner. It's a lot easier when you have these bird dogs that are willing to call future prospective sellers when they're really good friends of yours. And you can have a dinner with them and say, hey, listen, over an evening, having fun, say, hey, listen, I've got this listing coming up. Would you mind giving this person a call? They never say no. They never say no, especially if somebody thinks that you did an amazing job for them. We're talking about them making a 2-minute phone call. Usually not a big deal at all.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. That's awesome. And yeah, I think too, like you said, man, I mean, you go deep in the relationship, you focus on that connection, you go out of your way to always contribute to them. And, I think if anybody asked me like that, my CPA or my insurance agent, man, I'd be glad to do that stuff for them too. Right? We just kind of have these mental blocks of like, oh shit, we're afraid to ask our clients to do this kind of stuff.
Well, it's amazing to me too, because, I talk to a lot of listing agents that are even afraid to ask their sellers for a testimonial.
Yeah.
Or even asking their sellers for a referral. When they have real estate in the forefront of their mind and they've just closed a deal, that's the time to ask them for a testimonial. That's the time to ask them for referrals. Because, if you ask them for a testimonial a month later, heck, they're not going to do it. It's just too far past their consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. So then, I love the overall process, and I love too that, by the time you show up there, like you said, man, it is really going deep into the connection, deep into the rapport.
Yes.
And if you start studying sales at a deep level and the art of persuasion, influence,
right,
that rapport is the most important thing.
Yes.
And it's something that, I don't know what your experience has been, but like every real estate conference you go to, like nobody really talks about this stuff, right? It just seems like, at least in my experience. And what are some of the things that you do or suggestions that you would have to be able to develop that rapport and focus on that connection?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that it's sort of difficult to do, but with practice, Joshua, I think that we can all become really good at it. And that is to be vulnerable. And one of the things I do when I walk into sellers, I really sort of open up about similar experiences I had with other sellers. I open up about, problems that I have gone through personally in my real estate situation, because I own a lot of rental properties. We all do a lot of stuff in real estate. We all have stories that you can connect with to other sellers about. And I think that when sellers see you opening up about problems that you've had, about problems or successes that other sellers have had, telling stories that make them laugh and giggle, as I mentioned earlier, that's what's really going to sort of build the rapport, because you need to develop some kind of emotional connection with the seller. Sometimes you do it in spades. Sometimes, you get a seller that's just ice cold, you just are not breaking through that exterior. But for the most part, I'm just being vulnerable about myself. Sometimes I even talk about my personal life experiences, and just you be vulnerable. Let people know too that you're not just some robot selling machine that just cares about making them a buck, because they need to be confident in you. That's the bottom line. Any bozo, especially in this market across the country where it's a seller's market, any bozo can take a ticket order and sell your house. They want to know that they want to feel confident that you're the best fit for them. And that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm guessing though, in order to get them to open up enough where you can give that story, relate with them, and I don't know if this is like when you go to the house, introduce yourself, start with maybe the tour process, and as they're showing you the home, just kind of asking intentional questions to be able to identify where you can relate. right? Because I've got to imagine like, right? I mean, you got to get them to open up somewhat.
Right.
And what is the importance of, just really honing in on some of those questions and identifying against what their problems are, what their concerns are and different things.
Yeah, one of the things that I use to get sellers to open up is humor. I'm just a goofy ass guy as to begin with. So I just love making jokes about things. Silly jokes like, "Oh, you're not going to leave that rocking chair there, are you?" And then they're no. And they start laughing about it, and then they tell me a story about the damn rocking chair, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. But the point is that I'm getting them to open up through humor, and I'm doing that basically during the walkthrough process. So by the time that I'm sitting down with them, we can laugh and just be a little bit goofy and a little bit irreverent, because it's just, I don't think that's what sellers are expecting. What sellers are expecting is this really buttoned up suit and tie guy to sit down and spend 3 hours talking about comps and, how I'm number one and how I'm going to put 14 drones in the sky and, videotape your house till the cows come home. Who cares? That's not really what sellers really want. But I use humor to answer your question, really.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. So this then leads me into which is something I know you're extremely passionate about today. Is you spent 25 years, or I guess we can call it the last 15 years of when you got really intentional of really going out there and mastering your craft and not being an amateur like the rest of the majority of realtors out there. But, I got to imagine, dude, like it took, years and presentation to presentation to dial in this process and, how to get it right. And you just, again, you've been very intentional about mastering this. The success speaks for itself there. But then now you transition into, going out there and helping other agents. And we are still in one of these spaces where there is, it's like there's almost two extremes. You got this massive amount of scarcity, and then you've got these, that operate from a place of abundance.
Right.
But you got a guy like you that's like in a very tight knit market that really has this dialed in. But it's like, hey, man, I'm giving away, I'm sharing all my stuff that my competition can even get. And I think that scares a lot of people away. And I commend that you're doing it. I love that you're doing it. But yeah, talk to us about what led you into, creating this platform where other real estate agents can learn from you with your listing presentation process.
Well, Joshua, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to you. I think that the biggest thing that I just love, and I can do this for days and days and days, and you do this in spades, all the time. And what you're doing is helping other real estate agents try to get to their better self. And, when you get on the phone with somebody or you see this aha moment where you say, you should be doing A, B, and C, and they do it and they achieve this great success, and they call you back and they say, Chris, I can't believe that you did that. I mean, to me, that's the biggest high. And I'm assuming that's probably too why you're doing what you're doing and all the wonderful stuff that you're doing is, when somebody tells me I used your stuff, and, I got 3 new listings this week and I just can't believe that this happened, blah, blah, blah. I can live off that stuff for days. So what really started it for me is, I wrote a book called Massive Abundance, How to Create Passion, Purpose, and Prosperity in Your Life. This is shortly after my partner went into remission after that year period. And for me, it's like a big circle. It's like as a young person, we all try to do the best. We try to, make a lot of money, make a lot of friends, have an amazing lifestyle. But to me, it's a big circle. When it's all done and said, I think the most beneficial thing you can do if you've achieved a certain level of success is to give back. And, like I said, you're doing it in spades. There is no greater high for me than to help other real estate agents really 10x their listings and just giving back. I mean, it's just, I get, as one of my friends say, super jiggy. So,
yeah. And again, I know I name dropped them earlier, but again, Tony Robbins talks about this very heavily of, if you're chasing success, but you don't have a fulfillment component to that, if it's about money, you'll never find fulfillment in this life. Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's you're at a point where, dude, like, you don't need any more money, like, right. But then, like you said, it's about that impact, and that brings an element of just, joy, kind of like as you use that term earlier, that no amount of money can buy, right.
And it's meaningful too, because once you get to a certain point, I mean, a lot of people have experienced this already. How many designer suits can you have? How many Mercedes can you buy? How many trips to Europe can you go on? That is not going to fulfill you. And what ultimately I think is really going to fulfill you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not advocating every real estate agent to go out there and, develop an online course or something, but I think you have to find something in your life that's going to bring you some meaning beyond just selling houses. It's like they say, you're never going to become rich just selling houses. It's what you do with that money, how you invest that money is what's going to make you wealthy. And it's the same kind of thing here. I think it's how you're going to invest your time, especially, throughout your whole life, really. But especially when you reach a certain level of success, that's what's going to bring meaning to your life. And like you said, joy. I love that word.
Yep. No, that's awesome, man. So, talk to us about the program, because almost all of our listeners are real estate agents in this space. I think all of us would love to, one of the things I love about real estate, there's so many things, but one of the things I do that I'm so ungodly passionate about this business, and I love it so much because I don't see it as much in other industries, is, you can so quickly double or triple your business without investing more money and time and energy. If you just get a little bit better at each area, get a little bit better with your lead gen, a little bit better with your conversions, a little bit better at your listing presentation, converting to clients. And, so I know that, we can all learn from your program and what you do. And our listeners, are interested in learning more. I'm extremely interested. I definitely don't do near the stuff that you do for myself and my team. So kind of walk us through, like, what is it? What's included? What can we expect? And walk us through it.
Sure. Well, it's called the Top Producer Blueprint, and it's a 7-week online course that I'm sure that we can probably put a link somewhere to. And basically what I do in a 7-week online course is I really combine the hardcore real estate tactics, like you mentioned, how to work with sellers, how to work with those listing presentations, what to say, how to develop that rapport, and different marketing, just the hardcore stuff. But I combine that with brain hacks as well. So it's a course that you've got to have the mindset, you've got to have the brain hacks, for instance, on how to start, a silly thing, how to start a mastermind group. I think one of the most important things that all your listeners should be, if you're not already out there right now doing, is develop a mastermind group. I know some people that pay up to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year to be in a mastermind group. And quite frankly, I think that you don't need to do that. You can start your own mastermind group. Find 3 or 4 real estate agents that are in different marketplaces in your city or whatever, and get on the phone once a month and say, hey, what's going on with your marketplace? What's working? What's not working? That type of thing. So it just gets into the specifics of brain hacks combined with hardcore sales tactics. And you can do it all in one sitting. You can do it over a 7-week period. And it's pretty fun too, because I'm a pretty fun guy.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, when you talk about pretty hardcore sales tactics, I'm guessing that this is encompassing, everything from, your prospecting, your follow-up, to actually working with the clients, to your whole entire listing presentation process of the, the pre-list kit, what that looks like, giving us tips on how to craft our own. Is that a correct assessment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We really sort of cover the gamut. If you're going to do open houses, never my big strong forte, but if you're going to do open houses, this is how you should do the open house. This is when you should be prospecting. This is who you should be prospecting. We have a lot of different kinds of tips on different prospecting methods that you want to consider doing, how you should go about doing those prospecting, how to leverage your time so that you're not doing non-income producing stuff, how you're offloading all your non-income producing stuff to other people, virtual assistants and all that kind of thing. We really just run the gamut of, in terms of how you should be running your business, quite frankly. And I base it off my business because I like my business because I make a shit ton of money. I do it with very few people. I have a very small team. It's like me, a secretary, and 1 virtual assistant. And I like doing things that are cheap. I don't like spending a lot of money on marketing that costs a lot of money, because I probably, for a real estate agent, have probably one of the highest gross margins in the business. I try to keep my expenses below 20%. So I don't do advertising. I really don't I try not to spend a lot of money on anything.
Yep. Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, so many people, because you hear all these, mega, team leaders and mega producers out there, and I'm one of them, right? So when people hear, like last year, 653 home sales that myself and my team did,
Wow,
and the volume that we did. But I'm like, look, you guys, you don't understand. You get to a point where, I've got over 30 full-time agents, 5 full-time support staff.
wow.
My overheads, $50,000+ a month, just to keep the lights on, and margins get thin and thin and thin, especially as you step out of production.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I made the most money is when I ran, my shop similar to yours, right? Right where I had a great support team around me that allowed me to just focus on those money-making activities, but the margins were huge. People get so impressed by, this volume game.
Right.
I know some of these agents, and I'm like, dude, I guarantee you these guys sounds all sexy, but they're broke as a joke. Right?
It's not the money you make, it's the money you keep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. No, I love it, man. So, okay. So it's called the Top Producer Blueprint. Is it topproducerblueprint.com where we go to check it out, or is there a specific website?
Actually, just go to my website, epiclistingagent.com. You can link it right there. epiclistingagent.com. And if you hit me up, you can contact me at epiclistingagent.com and just say, hey, Chris, I want your books too. I have 2 books. I will certainly send, if any of your viewers email me, I'll send the books to you for free. And yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Love it, dude. And those that are watching, listen, we're going to have a link right below as always, whether you're on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, I don't care where you're at. Links will be below to make it super easy on you. So I'm curious, you've been in the business for quite some time now. You've I'm sure had a lot of great, amazing learning lessons, right? Things that you had to overcome, tough times. And
right.
If the Chris today could go back to the Chris 25 years ago when he started this journey, have a conversation with yourself and give yourself 2 pieces of advice that you feel would have just fast forward this whole entire trajectory to success, knowing what you know now today, what would those 2 pieces of advice be?
Wow. Good question. You asked really great questions. Joshua, my 2 pieces of advice. One is I would say is be healthy. Be healthy. Because I think that the most important thing, if you don't have your health in this business, you have nothing. I mean, if you're sick or you don't have the motivation, or you're chowing down on all kinds of fast food and drinking or smoking or doing anything that's not giving you the energy that you should be doing. I mean, that's the biggest production killer in my mind for this business, because we are the business. And I wasn't doing that when I was younger. So that's certainly one piece of advice I'd give myself. And the other piece of advice, there's sort of like 2 parts. One is, don't take myself so seriously. Don't take situations seriously, and be in a constant state of gratitude. Because again, when whether you lose a deal, or somebody hurt your feelings in a deal, nobody died, life's going to move on. And I think that if you can get to a place where you are just so grateful for what you're at, when I'm swimming every single morning and I'm doing my laps, I'm sitting there thinking about all the things I'm grateful for in my life. Because I think from that standpoint, from being grateful, that's when a lot of great stuff happens in your life.
Yep. Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you've experienced kind of the opposite end of that, but for entrepreneurs, we're such driven, kind of hard to satisfy people, setting goals with no finish lines, and if you're not careful and intentional, like you just talked about, with creating those gratitudes and learning to count your blessings in this life, it's very easy to just become a miserable freaking grump. And there's nothing worse out there than a multimillionaire grump, right?
Right. Exactly. No, and what's the point? You get to a point that you're going to realize too, where you're just not happy.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a vicious circle. If you're not happy, then you're going to start doing addictive things, whether it's shopping, money, food, booze, whatever it is, to sort of mask the unhappiness. So, and so that's I absolutely agree with you, man. I absolutely agree with you.
Yep. Love it. So, one last question for you. I know we're getting tight on time, but we've got so many new agents they're always entering this space, and we have a lot of seasoned agents that watch the podcast too, but we have a lot of new agents that are here, that maybe they can't afford, to hire a coach yet, or they're using the podcast to learn from producers like yourself. And, if you were to give a new agent, high turnover rates, failure rates, there's so much being spit at them. They got everybody in the world telling them to do all these, 15, 20 different things or whatever. If you were to just say, hey, here's a couple things to just focus on, and if you just do these and do them consistently, you're going to be okay. Like, what would you say to a brand new agent?
Brand new agent. I think that if I were to talk to a brand new agent today, there'd be a couple things that I would say. One, Joshua, I would say, I think the most important thing that agents don't get, I hope they go into real estate with their eyes wide open about what their schedule is all about. I think some agents just think that they're going to be handed all these listings. And so develop a really solid schedule, a schedule where you've got your prospecting, that you're consistently doing your prospecting, and stick to that schedule as much as you can, number one. I think the other thing is I would definitely start or join a mastermind group. Doesn't cost any money, but surround yourself with people that are motivated, that can really help you, not only motivate you, but that people that you can learn from. One of the best adages I've always gotten from an old mentor is that there's only 4 people that you should hang out with in your life. And those are people that you can teach. Those are people you can learn from, people you can make money with, or people you can have fun with. If you've got somebody that's not in one of those 4 categories, fire their happy butts, because you don't need those kind of people in your life. And so I think that a mastermind group sort of helps in that effect. But, had somebody told me when I first started real estate that, I should take inventory of the people that I surround myself with and fire half of them, I think I would have been a lot more successful, a lot faster.
Yeah. No, I love it. Such powerful advice, man. And just something that most people don't spend time, like you said, taking inventory of and really thinking about that stuff. Cause it's, as Jim Rohn said, man, you're an average of 5 people you spend most time with.
There you go.
And I don't know if there's anything more true than that, right? So, all right, those that are watching and listening, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation truly is just the start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking action on it, that creates the power in your life for you to go out there and create the life that you want and deserve. And Chris shared so many amazing pieces of advice that you can go out there and execute on right now to go out there and create the success, the life that you truly want and deserve. Take action, go out there and like I said, start implementing. Go check out, got so many notes here, epiclistingagent.com. Again, we will have a link here so you can go check that out. Check out Chris's listingblueprint.com. I know as soon as we hang up, I'm going to as well. And Chris, man, I know how busy you are. I know you got family in town. So I truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day here, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Joshua, it was my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yeah, 100%, my friend. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.